All right, but today in the AJT Jungle, we're going to focus on the mysteries of perception. We're going to talk about how it's going to connect to some of the other things. When we do the price action class tomorrow, we're going to talk about perception there because that's key in being able to read price action and technical analysis. You know, all of that stuff is going to work hand in hand. But before we get started, let's kind of recap what we talked about last week, which is very, very important as well as everything that we do. So having realistic expectations is vital for long-term success in trading. Okay, you gotta have realistic expectations. Unrealistic goals, expectations for your trades, all those can lead to emotional distress, impulsive decision making, and lack of patience and persistence. So by setting realistic and measurable goals, whether it be your long-term trading goals, short-term trading goals, goals in trades that you take, also embracing the learning process, practicing proper risk management, and maintaining a positive mindset, traders can avoid the pitfalls of unrealistic expectations. Remember that trading is a journey and it requires continuous learning, adaptation, and refinement. You know, looking at this morning, I'm slow to adapt. But what I'm seeing is different than something different than I've seen in all of the years that I've been trading. So I have to improvise and adapt so that I can overcome these conditions. So by managing expectations effectively, I'll be able to foster a sustainable approach to trading and increase the likelihood of me continuing to hit my long-term goals. You do the same thing. We've got to manage our expectations effectively. We do need to have, solid, strong goals, but we have to manage our expectations. All right, so that's what we talked about last week. If you weren't here, the video was sent out. You can check it out. It's really, really important that we understand and that we have have realistic expectations, not only with our individual everyday trades, but with our long-term goals as well. Okay, perception acts as a lens through which we view reality. Okay, let me say that again. Perception acts as a lens. It's what filters the things through which we view reality. Our perceptions influence what we focus on, the process, how we focus on it, how we remember, how we interpret, how we understand, how we synthesize, how we make our decisions, and we act on reality. Theoretically, we act on reality. Okay, but perception can be deceptive. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about today. That's why I call it the mystery of perception. Perception, if it's not used right, just like confidence, it could be a devastating tool. A tool that when you use it, it hurts you every time. Or you learn how to use it right, and it becomes one of the most valuable tools in your toolbox. So perception is directly related to our senses and our emotions. And trading is basically your perception of it. When you're trading the market, you're trading what you perceive the market is doing and what it's going to do in the future. So, relying solely on perceptions to make trade decisions is dangerous. Okay, there's a big difference between reality and perceptions. What's real and what you're perceiving to be real. However, all of us are inclined to make decisions based on our perceptions. Because think about it. If we didn't use perception, how are we going to know when we're in the middle of doing something dangerous and doing something not smart? But in that same breath, we can perceive something that's bad that we're doing as good because we don't know any better. Okay, so we have to realize and avoid making these impulsive trade decisions that are based basically on what we're feeling at the moment. Okay, we could be feeling long. I feel like the market's going to go long. I feel like this stock's going to bounce. I feel like this is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. If you have that perception and you've created that alternative reality, you're going to go with it. So that's why perception, you have to be a lot better equipped to understand what perception is. Because the big issue in this is that our perception can keep us from seeing the reality. We can make ourselves see things that just aren't there. How many times have we taken a trade because we saw a setup, but then later on we zoom out and we realize it's not really a setup? I should not have entered there. But at the time, you narrowed your focus so much to where you perceived that there was an entry. You forced yourself to search, and look until you can have, you have an entry that you've been looking for. And then you realize once you take it, it's not based on reality. It's based on fiction. So one of the biggest issues is that our perception will keep us from seeing the reality. And this creates two problems. Okay, one, our assumptions are typically wrong. If we're trading based on assumption, we may be working at a 35-45% win rate, if that. Okay, so we can't trade on assumptions. The other thing is we think we fully understand what the traders on the other side of our trades are thinking. We think that we know what they perceive. It's like I'm seeing it this way because I'm educated, and when I wasn't educated, I would be seeing it that way. And so these are the people I want to step on. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah, maybe they are uneducated. Maybe their perception is different. But we can't fully understand what they're thinking and what their trade perceptions are. But they usually aren't based on reality. Our assumptions are usually not based on reality, but based on our personal intuition, rumors that we hear, appearances, or other easily developed interpretations. It's really funny how, as grown and as old as some of us are, we get caught up in rumors and all kind of things. And it creates our perception, and it affects your mindset. Is what happens. But we're all driven to make decisions based on our perceptions and our perspectives. Okay, which often result in a lack of alignment between opposing traders. Now, I know what you're thinking. If not, you're gonna think about it a little bit later. If we don't have somebody opposing us on our trades, then we won't be trading, right? If I'm selling, somebody has to be on the other side buying, right? If I'm buying, somebody on the other side has to be selling. So there can't be a complete alignment between us. Okay, what's gonna make the difference between, and even once we get the facts, okay, what the difference is for us, once we have a perception, we need to validate that perception with proof. We have to validate that perception with proof. And how do we do that? In trading, okay, what we're perceiving is the direction of the market and where the market can go. That's our perception. So how are we going to support that? Does anybody have an idea? I might have confused you right now, but I'm going to tie it up here in a second. But those of you that are following me with this, when we have a perception about taking a trade, what do we need to do in order to verify it? Yep. Checking the option flow, that's one good one. That is a part of what we do to build evidence. Yep, price action and technical analysis. All of these things are going to provide data and everything to help us be able to prove that our perception or what we perceive is actually what's being shown. Okay, and again tomorrow when we get into the price action, I'm going to show you how these are aligned, with examples. But here I'm just kind of sharing with you, we must make an effort to determine the facts, thus reducing the impact perceptions have on our trading decisions. We must have perception. We must be able to visualize the trade opportunity. But before we take a trade, we must verify the facts. Okay, does that make sense? You've got to have perception because that's what keeps you going. But in order to act on it, we have to build or show some evidence as to why what we perceive is likely to come to pass. And if we can't do that, it makes it really difficult for us. Okay, the market does not generate happy or sad data. It doesn't generate well, it does generate information that makes you feel good or mad or whatever. It does generate that information. But what I'm saying is the information on the surface is not positive or negative. It's neutral. Okay, what makes it what makes us feel happy or sad or mad is how we interpret it, how we perceive it. If we perceive it to be hostile and negative and painful, then that's how we're going to feel. Alright, so it may seem as though the market is causing you to feel the way you do by the way it's trading. That's not the case. It's your own mindset that determines how you perceive the market or how it makes you feel. Think about when you're on a losing streak. How do you feel on a losing streak? And then when you come back to safety and you feel comfortable inside of yourself, you're going to be able to make better decisions. So you're going to stop allowing the market to dictate to you how you feel, because you're going to stop interpreting that information that the market's giving you. So why do professional traders seem like superhuman individuals that can just go in and out of trades with ease? Okay, professionals do not perceive anything about the markets as painful. Therefore, no threat exists for them. They do not feel threatened by the market, even though the market is a place that you can lose your money. They don't perceive anything about it as painful. They know losing money is a part of the process. So there's no threat. And if there's no threat, there's nothing to defend against. Alright, and as a result, there's no reason for their conscious or subconscious defense mechanism to kick in. They're going to keep pressing forward. So they're able to go in and out of trades, not even worrying about it. Knowing that, hey, this is the setup, it triggered my entry, so now whatever happens, happens. I just got to be ready for the next one, right? And I've got to throw in a quote by my boy. You know that. So what Mark Douglas says, professionals don't perceive anything about the markets as painful. Therefore, no threat exists for them. If there is no threat, there's nothing to defend against, right? As a result, there isn't any reason for their conscious or subconscious defense mechanism to kick in. That makes sense? We that trade for a living, trade full time, we're not overly focused on risk management. Risk management is a big part of it, but we're not focused on that. Our first thought is not, where do I put my stop loss? That's not our first thought. We're looking for, where are we going to place our profit targets? How far based on price action in this chart, how far can this trade go? How much profit can I make? That's my first thought. Professional traders, that's their first thought. Risk management is built in, but it's not something that we think about, every hour on the hour, because that will take up all of our energy. And we won't have any energy for trading. All right, so remember, just because a trade is going against you doesn't mean the market is inflicting pain on you. That's not what's happening. You're perceiving it as pain because it's going against you. Likewise, somebody that's trading on the other side of you, they're happy because the stock is going in their direction. All right, it doesn't, you can't focus on that. You can't be overly happy or overly sad. We got to be even keel and make sure that anything we perceive, we're going to back up. Okay, that we're not perceiving anything as painful, that it's stealing from us or whatever. We're not looking at the market as a threat. We can't do that. Alright, so if your goal is to be a successful and profitable trader, here's some things that you've got to do. Okay, you've got to be able to see the market from an objective view. Remember last week we talked about the difference between objective and subjective? Okay, objective is we're basing it on, facts. Subjective is when we're starting to guess. And perception can take us both ways. Alright, so be able to see the market from an objective perspective, be able to act without reservation, but without the negative effects of overconfidence. We've talked about all of this before, and how we have to manage that confidence. It is a very powerful tool, but if we do not manage it correctly, if we abuse it, it could be the worst mistake we've ever made, or the worst tool that we've ever had in our toolbox. So your goal is to be able to develop a new state of mind, and I call it the trader's mindset. To do this, you must first change your perception of the markets and trade from a mindset that keeps you focused on your trade execution instead of focusing on what snaps you into emotional distress. Your P&L, worrying about your stop losses. All of these things will snap you into emotional distress and prevent you from executing properly. Alright, so these are factors that affect your trading perceptions. You got visual perception, which is, what you're seeing. You got emotional perception, which is your mood, and your environment, your past or present perceptions. Growing up, we have a perception about loss and losing money. That's one of the biggest things that we have to overcome. Okay, but there's a cause and effect relationship that exists between ourselves and everything else around us. So in order for us to be successful in it, we have to manage how we see things. And we have to manage our perceptions objectively, not subjectively. Okay, the memories, the memories, experiences, and the beliefs we build throughout our lives exist in our mind both consciously and subconsciously. And some of us are actually working on our subconscious. We just don't know it. And this creates the mental energy that surrounds us. And you've heard me say this before. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. I want my energy focused on profit targets, on hitting profit goals, not on worrying about where I'm going to stop out and how much money I'm going to lose. Your energy should not flow there. You know, if our focus is on protecting ourselves from our emotions, which trigger our defense mechanisms, that's where our energy goes. So if we're focusing on the wrong things, our energy will not be on the things that can help make us money. We've got to focus on that. All right, so I got a question. Looking at this picture, how many of you see it rotating around the center eye? How many of you see it rotating around this? And how many of you don't see? How many of you see this as a picture that's just not moving? It's just a flat picture. A one-dimensional picture. How many of you see it that way? Lord have mercy. I got one person. All right, so we've got some that see no movement and some that see movement. When I look at the picture and I'm looking at the center, I see it rotating around the center. But in reality, it's not. It's just I'm perceiving it to rotate. Based on the way the picture looks, I'm perceiving it as rotating. But it's actually not. This is actually not. This is just a still picture. All right, let's look at one more here. Oh man, I gave it up. So how many of you think, these lines are even? That they are completely horizontal? Or how many of you think these lines are moving up or going up? I don't know if I asked the question right. So these lines look slanted to you, right? Different line widths. Okay, look at this. I'm going to add another line to it. This is a straight line. Look at it. It looks at an angle, right? Looks slanted. But it's not. That's just how we perceive it. Okay, these are two examples of how we perceive something and it's not actually reality. Okay, two clear examples. So don't you think that happens to us in the market? Don't you think that happens to us in the market? Where we're looking at these different things. To some of us, it looks one way. To others, it looks the other way. So what do we have to do? We have to make sure that we get evidence that supports it. Okay, you say the bottom half is slanted. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. All right. Okay, so I got an extra one. Let's put it down here. Boom. Is that slanted? Let's go. Ah. You still think the bottom one is the bottom row slanted? Boom. It's all in how we see things. This is why we get screwed up in the market so much. We narrow our focus, we narrow our perception, and we want something to happen so bad. If we get any visual of it looking like it's going to do what we want, guess what? What are we going to do? Okay, we've got to fix that. So we have to make sure that before we say, okay, these aren't level, all these are crooked, right? Before we say that, guess what? We need to make sure with evidence what we're seeing is reality. Does that make sense? All right, so let's take a look at these two charts. Both of these are 5-minute charts. Which one looks the most aggressive and the most scary to you? The right one. Does the right one look like it's the most aggressive and the best chart and all of that? Guess what? It's the same damn chart. The only thing changed is the scale. It's the same chart with the same move. The only thing changed is the scale. It changes our perception. Just looking at it differently, it changes how we perceive the same damn chart. That makes sense? So hopefully I'm proving my point here. Okay, crucial to expertise, which is, how good we are at what we do. Perception, all right, we'll see you. Good luck. Tell them good luck. Crucial to expertise is perception. Because what we perceive dictates what we can process, store, and ultimately draw upon. Something can be in our field of vision, but we may not see it. Happens to us all the time in trading. Okay, we are so focused on what we perceive, we can't see what's right there in our face. We can't see what's right there in our face. Right? And we don't see it until afterwards, and we do our reflection, and we're journaling. And we look, damn, why didn't I see that? There's the trades right here. Why didn't I see that? It's all because of your perception. It's all because we narrowed the focus. And it could be subconscious. Okay? It could be subconscious because you developed that as a defense mechanism to stay focused. Like if you're a golfer or you're a tennis player or whatever, you learn how to tune out certain things and just focus on your component. I mean, not your component, your opponent and the ball. Okay, that's what you're focused on. And if you allow your mind to wander and you start seeing other things, it's going to mess up your perception. And in this case, in tennis or golf, it's going to mess up your depth perception. So whereas if you're looking, if you've expanded your field of vision and you're not focused totally 100% on the ball, your depth perception is going to be off. You're going to miss hit. It's what happens. Same thing in golf. You're going to miss hit. So just think about it. You're going to get the video of this. You'll be able to rewatch it. So you can kind of, think about what I'm saying and understand it. And relate it to your trading. How you view your charts. Why it's always good to open up your field of vision so that your perception is going to be based on objective. You're going to have objective perception versus subjective perception. Your perception is going to be based on facts, not based on what you think or what you wish or hope to happen. So how do we see it? One of the challenges of becoming a profitable trader is definitely having the right perception. One of the things that we do a lot of times is we perceive the market to be intimidating, scary, and this mean and nasty place that just takes our money. If we think that and we come in every day with that fear, do you think we're ever going to make a dime? Absolutely not. We're not going to make a dime. Because every time we come in the market, we're going to be scared as hell. And if we do take a trade, we're not going to be able to allow it to work to where we make money. So we can't have that perception. Now, some days I come in, like this morning, I look at the market and I perceive that based on what I see in the evidence, that we're only going to have 30 minutes worth of really good tradable action. Guess what? We only had 15. So I had an expectation of 30. We only got 15. Did I get a little pissed off? Because we didn't get what I anticipated? What I perceived the market would give us? I got a little pissed off, and then I realized, hey, can't do nothing about it. We have to adapt. Alright, so here my perception of what the market was going to do helped me come up with a decision, and it was off a little bit, by 15 minutes. And that can easily take you out of your game. Easily take you out of your game. So we have to change how we perceive the market. Okay, every day we come in the market, we have to perceive it as this is a place that I could come in and I could make an unlimited amount of money every day. I'm not coming in thinking that I can lose. I'm coming in every day saying this market is a place where I can make an unlimited amount of money. It's only limited by my ability, to do what I need to do. So we can't perceive the market as negative anymore, or this scary place, or this place that we could come in and lose everything. We can't do that. We've got to change how we perceive the market. So what we do to start out, we remove the unnecessary noise that can affect our mindset during trading. We've got to eliminate the noise. Examples may be your phone, background noise, messy desk or office where you trade, chasing new strategies, listening to other traders' analysis who don't know shit, listening to multiple live trading rooms at the same time. When I allow the mics to get cut on, I hear a lot of other chat rooms. I don't even know how the hell y'all function listening to all of that. But that's why I don't talk much. That's why I keep my mouth shut. Because just throwing noise out there just to be throwing noise, it takes away from your focus. Okay, you've got to train your mind to remove these things. Alright. And I need to add cats in there too. Cats and dogs. Pets. In the example of noise. Because Lord knows they produce some pretty bad noise for me. But this ensures that the information we perceive and absorb is all necessary and not diluted with lots of other unnecessary information. Back several years ago, I watched this interview with Kobe, and he was talking about how he was helping the kids on his daughter's basketball team and all that. And he's like, every time he comes in and he sees these kids trying to do all this fancy stuff and all this, and he's like, they need to know the foundation. They need to know the fundamentals first. If you don't have the right fundamentals, none of this other stuff is going to work. So it's the same in trading. You got to have the fundamentals. All of this unnecessary stuff that doesn't fit with what we do, you got to throw away. Okay, it's time to throw it away. Because all it's doing is creating unnecessary noise that's going to screw up, your perception of the market and your trades. You've got to organize your thoughts. Understanding what's going on through your mind is one of the most important things as a trader. That's where journaling and reflection comes in. That's how that helps us actually understand what we're thinking, how we're thinking, and why we're thinking it. We learn what triggers us to go off the rails, so we can look for that. Sometimes you say, I can remember what's going through my mind. I don't need to write it down. You need to take notes. When things happen to you, you need to take notes. Like I wrote down today 15 minutes. And I should have really recognized it last week, because it happened last week. Because all I would say last week on the notes that I looked at, here this morning, I went back and I looked at the last 2 weeks, and on my notes it said market did not make it to 10 o'clock. Market did not make it to 10 o'clock. No follow through And today it hit me. First 15 minutes, we're done. Now, yeah, the market turns around and it flips, but it's got to trade back through all of the garbage in order to give you a clean trade. So, we've got to write these things down and it'll come to me. So now tomorrow, and until the market flips, which I think will come with the next earnings season next month, I think we're going to have to adjust. And it's what I do. It's what I do every cycle. Is I adjust. When the market starts to change, I know the adjustments I need to make. And what's crazy is this time, the time period shortened up. From 30 minutes it went to 15 minutes. So now I've got to focus on that and make that adjustment. Alright, so have you ever heard a painter say, I can't remember what's going through my mind, I don't need to write it down? No, a painter paints his thoughts. What he visualizes, what he sees, he paints it. Okay, that's the only way he can, take advantage of this. So think of your thoughts as you're painting. As if you're painting. You need to write them down so that you can visualize them later on. And then that's going to lead to action. Okay, think about this. As you're trading, if something is bothering you, if it's making you feel bad, whatever the case is, all right, write it down. Because eventually you've got to figure out what's causing you to feel this way. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? That's got to come into play. Right? So, you want to create a schedule that allows you to plan your day out, which creates structure and allows you to have an organized, smooth day. If we mentored together, I recommended that you have a plan of the day. Can you believe that there are people that don't come back after this? Because they have either they have a hard time or they don't believe it. They don't believe in doing this. Doesn't make sense, does it? You gotta have a plan of the day. This ensures that you remain disciplined throughout the trading day. Listen, once you've created the habits, and again, we've got a course on the power of habit that's going to help you. That's coming up after this. But once you create habits, the stuff that you feel that's hard to do, all this writing and all of this stuff, it becomes second nature. And you don't have to write it down. All you do is you have it there as a reference. So if something happens and you have to go away, you have to stop for a while, you've got it to come back to. But if you come in every day and you've created these habits to do the same thing every day, you're going to put yourself in the right place. You're going to put yourself in the right place every day. I'm sorry, looks like we're about to hit 880 on NVIDIA, guys. I don't know who's still holding. All right, your trading is a business. Once you see trading as a business, you'll subconsciously start ensuring that there are certain procedures and structure to your trading. This ensures a sense of professionalism throughout your trading journey. Very, very important. Very, 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 very important. Okay? You've got to see your trading as a business. You've got to run it as such. Okay? They're all elements to business that coincides. You know, we talk about it in the first 90 days of trading. That's where you'll see more of this as it relates to a business. But you must do that. See the markets as they are. Okay, it's important that you see and read the market exactly as it is. That's why the price action and technical analysis program, that's exactly why I did that. I pulled it out, and we do a whole program on that, because you have to be able to see the markets as they are. That's going to put you in the spot where you're consistent with your actions. Okay, that's what it's going to do. Okay, you must not cloud your interpretation process with too many indicators, analysis from other traders, even your past negative experiences with the market or a particular stock. I know I have stocks where I'm like, it's off my list. I'm not trading it because I don't want to have to deal with it. You know, yeah, I'll come back to it several months down the road. By then, whatever bad issues I had with it, I'm going to forget about it. And I'll be able to move on. But if it comes back, I'll put it on the shelf again and keep going. Okay, so you've got, we don't need a whole lot of indicators. You see that. You see exactly what indicators we need. You don't need to worry about analysis from other traders who are learning just like you. They probably haven't got it yet. So all of these things you got to cut out. Do not overthink. Overthinking is one of the traits you've got to get rid of if you're that person. I was that person. I would overthink, thinking that I can prevent myself from losing. No. Doesn't work that way. Okay? Does not work that way. So, as a professional trader, you must not overcomplicate or overthink things. Keep it simple, stupid, KISS. From general life to trading, overthinking will stick with you once it's become a habit. So we've got to break that habit. Okay, that habit must be broken. Must be broken. All right, last thought I want to leave with you guys. And this is relating to yourself, your personal self. By expanding your awareness of yourself, your reality, and changing your perception of yourself. I'm just talking about you now. I'm not talking about the market or anything else. Some of us may have a negative perception of ourselves. We may be the thing that's keeping us from achieving our goals because we have a subconscious negative perception of ourselves. We may not believe that we're able to do the things we need to do to be successful. Okay, so a lot of times once we change the perception of who we are, our perception of trading will change. And then we'll be able to see the charts and risk in a whole different light. Then we'll be able to see, okay, I'm willing to risk X. And I'm just gonna, and that's all. I'm not worried about anything else. Right now, my focus is on making money. I know what my risk is. It's already set. I don't have to think about it every day. You guys know what I mean? Man, we about to hit 890. We about to hit 890. So, do you guys have any questions? I need to get to this really quick. Any questions? Oh man, I did not take profit here like I should have. The last of this has to go at 885. I just missed it by a minute. Alright, so any questions? You guys understand and you get what we went over, what we talked about? Does anybody not believe me? Does anybody not believe me? It's true. I promise you it's true. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be able to take these trades. Look at what Nvidia did to me. Now, thankfully, my cat got me in this trade early when I wouldn't even get in it. But what did I do? I looked at the market. My perception was, let's see if I can do this. Alright, I want to go back to this here. I went back too far, but alright, so here was the first trade. And we're going to talk, I'm going to tie this in tomorrow too in our class. But here's the first trade. Didn't quite get to 850. Which is where I wanted my next target. So I stopped at break even. But guess what? It turned around on me. It turned around on me, started coming back. That's a trigger. Okay, this is 100% a trigger. I perceived the market, that stock coming back down and going back through 850. That was my perception. But I did not have any evidence to back that up other than that's what I felt. I assumed that it was going to keep coming because it stopped me out and blah, 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 blah. That I assumed that. Okay? So now I'm a little bit irritated, and I jump back in, and I get stopped out. Okay? So here's where the cat, evidently the cat, I don't think I left an order on. I didn't even realize I was in this trade. Didn't even realize it. But, what are we looking at? I'm looking at, okay, let's make a decision based on what the chart's telling me. these two candlesticks tell me one thing. This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Okay, this candlestick told me another, which is why I bailed the hell out of it. And it's what kept me in this trade throughout. If I had some more shares or could have added, I would have. All right, and that's what kept me in. It's my perception. It's what I perceived. Now, I could have perceived this as being hostile because I lost money on it, and that's that. That's not the case. All right, makes sense. But again, we're gonna do the recap tomorrow. A full recap of this trade. So let me stop this.